Good morning, everyone, or good afternoon, or good evening, good day, good tomorrow. Welcome to our planning meeting for the Kubernetes Contributor Summit. It is July 31st, and I'm so glad you're here. Let's be kind to each other, as per the code of conduct. I've always parroted what I've heard, which basically boils down to be excellent to each other. But I feel like I should go read it again and figure out what it all boils down to for me. I've digressed. Lead updates. I've been seeing some activity in the repository from Josh. Thank you for getting that celebration PR going. I don't have any other updates right now. Josh, did you have anything that you wanted to share?
For which part?
Lead updates.
Oh, and everything is, let's see, I think we have all of our staff. Oh, I actually remarked in there, so neither of them are on right now, but Nitish and Cece are going to be co-leading the social.
Yes. That was, I think we have that mentioned, and I need to update the issue with that in there. I still need to send that email out, or never mind. When we send the email out for Reg, if we're all staffed up, part of me wants us to get some more experienced folks so that we could accept some of these shadows and volunteers that don't have org membership yet. But when we send that email out for Reg to let folks know that we can, or that we're always looking for experienced org members to help us out with volunteering and shadowing and leading different areas. Let's pass it to Brienne. So glad you're here, Brienne.
Hi, I have a few things today. So the registration form and planning doc, which will list out all the space assignments, will be shared later today. So I will be sharing that on the channel. Be on the lookout for that. Once the registration form is approved, we'll be able to build our registration for the testing process. And then once we go through the testing process, we can probably have registration launched as early as next week, depending on how long the approval process and all of that takes. So the quicker everybody moves, the faster we can launch Reg. A question about awards. I see somebody said we will be doing them. Who will I be working with for awards this time?
It's me, Joseph. I actually was just asking Ray about this.
Perfect. Awesome. All right. Well, we will be working together hand in hand for this. So I'll have more questions for you as we move further along. And then I saw we had some questions from last week. One of them being if we have a budget for hiring an artist to make t-shirt designs. Unfortunately, we do not have a budget for that. But if we are doing just standard t-shirts, I might be able, we have, I believe, $10,000 set aside. And that was taking into account that we've done long sleeve style hoodies for the past couple. T-shirts are obviously significantly cheaper. So if we are going a standard t-shirt route, we probably can use some of the extra money that is set aside to help pay for a designer. So
yeah, I think with that, the hoodies that we had in Amsterdam were quite thin and not super functional for the weather, in my opinion. And I feel like if we do that design again for Chicago, it will be even less fitting for the weather. So I am pro doing t-shirts because you can always put a thermal underneath or something like that. And if I feel like they're also just more useful, than a hoodie that I'm not going to wear.
Yeah, no, I think that makes perfect sense. I know we had to go with the thinner style just because pullover hoodies are incredibly expensive. So to do a standard, nicer, heavier one, it's just definitely out of budget. So I think if we want to go the t-shirt route, then I think there is probably some money that I can pull that we can use for a designer if we need
to. Okay, that sounds good.
Awesome.
Sorry. Well, wait, do we did we actually locate an artist?
No,
Because
so
so far I've heard, all I've heard is no.
yeah, Laura put out to see if DevOps Day Chicago had somebody they were using. Essentially, I didn't want to go find somebody unless we had money to give them, you know.
Okay.
So like I haven't even begun to
Okay.
look.
So yeah, so let's start, Brian, let's start a thread with the various kinds of swag that we're looking at, and maybe a little bit budget spreadsheet, just because
Yeah,
there's some things like we want to have an identifying item for volunteer staff, well, and actually paid staff for that matter. I'd like to squeeze that in the budget if possible. Otherwise, I'm basically looking for one of our vendors to sponsor it without getting credit, which is
yeah.
always challenging.
I'm gonna bring it up in my one-on-one with my manager to see if we have
Yeah.
any room for it, for the identifying item. Yeah, so fingers crossed, we'll see.
Yeah. But let's start a thread about that.
Sounds
Because
good. Yeah,
the other thing is that given how everything is piled on Monday this year, I don't think we're necessarily going to have higher real attendance than we had in Amsterdam.
that's fair. That's fair. And how many, I guess like we can look at the numbers later, but figuring out how many people we have, it's like
Yeah.
10K for like 150 t-shirts. Like those are probably some pretty nice t-shirts. You feel me?
Yeah.
So like what I'm saying is there's probably room in the budget for a lot if we do
But-
t-shirts.
Yeah, but I think you and me and Brianne can make a spreadsheet and figure out what we can actually do.
Yeah, definitely.
And just to comment on the staff identifying swag, something that is a hat or something that is visible vertically has
Yeah.
the added benefit of identifying
Yeah.
people in the venue.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
super fair. The item that we talked about was aprons for like the food culture in Chicago, which is not identifiable like necessarily like that, but it's also just dope and functional and useful afterward.
It is super cool.
One thing that you put in my head with that is like, you know, like a basketball pair, like a sweat headband, like that kind of thing. That's like,
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, yeah. The problem is like Chicago November. I keep getting ideas for warm weather gear.
Yeah.
But the problem with
Hopefully
those
we're
is
inside
that
the whole time.
they may actually have the heat cranked up in the convention center.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if so, we don't want to give, particularly if we're doing the staffing item, which we
Yeah.
need people to wear. We don't want to have something that's too warm to wear.
Yeah. But like, yeah, I feel like a 6 sweatband might be dope. Let's
Okay.
look at how much those cost.
Yeah, I would say I personally, in items I am most likely to reuse, an apron would definitely fall into that. So
Well, I'm thinking there's something small in addition that would go into the head, like a headband or like something like a handkerchief or something.
okay.
Like that.
Anyway,
Yeah.
we'll
We have
hash that out
backup.
start that up in the summit channel, and that way, if people have ideas and preferences, you can join in.
Awesome.
And Josh,
'Cause a lot of it's going to come down to what we can afford, also.
I am artsy. If need be, I got like the Procreate on my iPad, and I can do like some pretty sophisticated designs if we want. Not as
cool.
cool as someone local, but if we do need something, I'm open to that.
I have an idea already then. Can we turn the Kubernetes logo into like a frying pan? Could be cute.
Or a deep dish Kubernetes.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I cannot wait. Okay, sorry, Brianne, you're up.
No problem. Okay, so next question was about the SIG buttons for the meet and greet. For buttons, I would say I need about 3 weeks to place the order. So I think ideally the deadline for that should be around October 13th. Once I send the planning doc, you'll see I do have a tab actually set up in the planning doc that is specifically for all, like the list of all of the buttons and everything that will be needed and quantities and everything. So just work off of that tab if you can, and then that's what I will use to place the order. I saw a question about ribbons, and I'm guessing that was instead of doing
Yeah.
doing ribbons.
Yeah.
So we could do them if we wanted. However, what is really nice about the buttons is then usually at the end of the meet and greet, people actually put the buttons back in to the bags. And so they are reusable that way, which does help cut down on costs. Whereas the ribbons obviously are not going to be reusable year after year. So think
Right.
about that as far as cutting into budget, because again, every couple $100 we can save is just money we can put towards other items or places.
So on that, it was mostly just that a lot of folks do take the buttons anyways, and that, it has been communicated that they were available for people to take. So yes, we do get to save some, but yeah, they're disappearing. So that's where the sort of ribbon idea came from. Cause like if we're just imagining people are taking them, then.
Yeah, I think I haven't ordered ribbons in a little while for KubeCon, but I do think they're probably about the same cost as buttons. So I don't know that it's really going to be much difference between the buttons or ribbons. So whichever we want to do, we can do, or maybe we wait until we're after this event and we're completely out of buttons and do them for Europe. Because I do know we have quite a few left over still. So it might make sense to kind of use what we have and then switch to the ribbons, but either way we can do whichever we want.
Sounds good.
Are there deadlines for the shirts? So yeah, my question was, are we planning to do standard shirts? And then to be safe, I would say we need about 8 weeks lead time, which would be placing the order around September 11th. So that would be having completed artwork, deciding on which shirts and shirt color and everything, and actually placing that order.
Good to know.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
No problem.
This was super helpful. So glad that you're here to tell us all these things. All right. Does anybody have any questions for Brienne?
And
Yes,
next Monday,
Natalie.
I will not be available. I will be available through chat, but I'm actually heading down to Atlanta for the Black is Tech conference. So I'll be on a plane.
Awesome. Well, yeah, we will connect with you via chat if there are any issues. Natalie, go ahead.
Yeah, Brian. So I have a question. I'm Day of Ops lead. In terms of how many of us would you need there to do the walkthrough at the event, and when before at the event place, and when will that take place as well? Because I'd like to actually add that into the ops handbook too, so that people have an idea of expectations for doing this role.
Yeah, so usually we will do the walkthrough the day before. So that would be Sunday. I'll usually try to do it later in the afternoon, just so it gives the venue time to get as much set up and placed as possible, so it's ready for everybody to see. And I actually just put a call out on the channel, and anybody that would like to join is welcome to join and be there. So I don't really have a limit. The more the merrier. And then I will try to do a walkthrough of whichever venue we choose for the celebration as well. And then we can go and check that out also.
Okay, so just to confirm, it's usually the day before the event. I just want to, rather than say a day, just because now we've had a change in when the Contributor Summit actually happens. So day before the actual summit, both the where the summit will happen and also where the social will happen as well. So likely Day of Ops folks, leads, and social folks, you probably want representation from all three of those groups.
Yeah, that would be great.
Awesome. Okay, thanks so much.
Great question. Anyone else have any questions for Brienne before we move on to the next section? All right, great. Kaylin, you're up.
Yeah, again, nothing since last week. I put together a draft of the CFP form during the call yesterday, just so that it's mostly ready, but I guessed on dates. So if people have feedback on the amount of time, last year when we did it, we were super delayed. So it was all as much time as we could give them without it being after the conference. This time, we're planning to release much earlier, which would give us time to release a schedule before the event, which would be great. So yeah, if people have opinions on those dates, let me know and I can change them. And then that will just be ready for when that email goes out. And then unconference will take me 1 or 2 minutes whenever we make the call. But usually I think that is better to do a bit closer when people are getting amped up and see what the other talks are as well.
Yeah, Okay, that sounds great. Do we have any questions for content? Anyone want to have a discussion about the dates now, or do we want to table that for later? All right.
I mean, right now, the
Dates?
opening date is already very soon.
Yeah.
That's flexible, but I guess like if people who have more experience than me have opinions about like the amount of time between each thing, like how long the CFP should be open, that's really the only one. The other one is just like how much time I think it's going to take me to notify them and then our team to make the schedule. But so if anyone has an idea for how long we should keep it open, let me know now or later.
The one thing I'd actually contemplate there is, given that we're opening it earlier than I think we ever have actually for a contributor summit before, you might actually think about moving the rest of the dates up by a week or two. Because like having a full, say, 30 days in which this, well, is a trade-off, right? The advantage of moving up a week or two is, it gives people more notification for what's going to happen in the contributor summit. And it also gives you more fudge room if something goes wrong, right? If there's some sort of problem with posting the schedule, if you're really having trouble pinning down somebody for an important session, somebody says, hey, I really want to do this and we really want them to do it, but I'm not absolutely sure I can attend, those sorts of things. The drawback to moving it earlier, obviously, is that a lot of people want to put stuff on the schedule because of things that have recently happened in the project.
That might actually be a good thing because it'll push people into unconference, whereas I think sometimes unconference happens a little bit last minute. So
Yeah.
if we have like hey, if something comes up after the CFP, here's the GitHub issue, and then we can push that in the communication once the CFP closes until we're there.
So what about moving the close and notification and schedule all up by a week?
Okay, so I'll aim to have the schedule announce like 1 month before, and then I'll do everything else to align with that. Okay, that makes sense to me.
Yeah,
And
that
I
gives
think-
also a bit more time, because last time I think we had a bit of stress in the end, kind of coming up with the schedule, and we posted it late just because we kept it open too long. And I think your comment is really valuable there to say, if you didn't get into the CFP, just put it in the unconference and we still have slots for you. But at least we don't need to like wait too long for creating a schedule, which also got commented on last time. But basically, like, where's the schedule? I don't know when to appear. Like, is the talk that I want to see like in the morning or in the afternoon because I want to, I don't know, be at my colo or.
Yeah, and I think as well with people getting like travel budget and approvals, it's really helpful if we have those acceptances out as soon as possible. So looks like everything is shaping up very, very well in your capable hands, Kaylin. So thank you so much. Avanesh, you're up. What do we have for comms?
Not so major updates from comms, but as we were discussing about sending a mail about folks who are interested in volunteering who potentially have the org membership. So for that, I got a draft ready, but we can maybe shoot it with the registration, or if you want, we can send it out separately.
Yeah. Can we see the draft? Can you link it there in the doc, and then we'll go from there? I think to Josh's comment earlier, like, is there a lead on this call that feels like they do not have enough help, have all of the help that they want to have?
I will say, given that we haven't, I was going to say Natalie, given that we haven't even in the handbook filled out all of the volunteer jobs that there are.
So I would say that part of the work is fine. Like myself and the couple other shadows that are there, like I think we can do that. We've got a lot of time for that too. But in terms of help, like on the day itself, we will need more volunteers and we just don't have them yet. Like,
okay. Yeah. So I think that the email will be helpful then to say, yeah, we want some folks. Yeah, all right. So if you could, Avinash, if you could link in the doc, the draft that you have, and we can wrap on that collaboratively over the next couple of days, and then we can send something out this week to say, hey, the planning is underway for the contributor summit. You know, the CFP is coming at you soon. You know, the dates have been locked in, like all that stuff, to get like the first level of excitement up about it, and then have like, and if you're interested in helping us out, you know, we could use the help, and I'll figure out, we'll work together to figure out a better way to say that. We'll do that, and then hopefully
sure.
get it out this week.
Sure, I'll link it up in the logs.
Awesome. Thank you very much. All right. Nitish is not here. Is anyone else from the celebration here?
No, but I'll report on it. I mean,
Okay.
Both of our celebration folks were planning on having some time off right now.
Okay.
Which is fine, because planning for the celebration really doesn't start until Brienne starts looking for venues.
Yeah.
But the thing that I'll remark is I finished the social handbook. So if somebody who has people who have previously been involved with the social, I'm looking at you, Xander, could go ahead and review that. And if it looks good, LGTM it so we can actually merge it and have it available for the new team. That would be great.
I've got it open to review in a tab right now.
Cool.
Look at y'all on it. I like this, like a collaboration and responsiveness. Y'all are great. All right. We'll pass it over back to Natalie for ops.
Oh, well, I just recruited 2 volunteers. Awesome.
Nice.
Woo. But yeah, I think I was going to say just on that as well. I think once the CFP comes out and there's a bit more information around the schedule, we'll get more people confirming that they're actually attending KubeCon in general, and thus the Contrib Summit. Like, I'm not too worried yet, but it's just something that's on my mind as a, you know, because we are still pretty far out. But yeah, I will likely rope in a bunch of you folks if I need more help, as to Noah's suggestion as well. Noah will be the top of that list first. And then Noah, welcome back. You and I need to meet so that I can get some spreadsheet permissions and things from you, I believe. But you and I can kind of connect offline for that. Yeah, other than that, no other updates. I've just kind of started the kind of DM of all of the Day of Ops folks. I'll add Kazan and Puya to that, but we've got a bit of time after until we update the ops book and then need to get started.
Dope. All right, Mars, you're up. Do we have anything for Reg?
We just get an update from Brienne, so hopefully we will have some progress this week. Yes, and hopefully we'll have something exciting next week.
Awesome.
No updates for now.
Looking forward to your blockbuster presentation next week. All right. Laura is not here. So
yeah. Does anybody know where we are in the rename of the meet and greet?
Oh, that's a good question.
Myself
Yeah.
and Chris and Laura met up about it last week. Was it the week before that? We met up about it and we talked a little bit about different name options, but we haven't decided on anything yet, but we are thinking about it.
All right, great. Glad that's in process. Do we have any other updates or thoughts for SIG meet and greet, and we can async with Laura?
Chris and I are shadowing Laura for the SIG meet and greet.
Oh, awesome. That's right. I forgot.
Yeah. That is why we met with her on it. So we'll be getting things going there. I have a whole bunch of notes from that meeting. I don't think anything in particular stands out that I want to update everyone on, but Things are
Right.
starting.
Amazing. Well, I believe in y'all. All right. Passing it over to awards, Joseph.
Hey, everybody. Happy Monday. It's kind of a low-key start for us. As I mentioned last week, we started in earnest this August, and I think Brianne confirms who I'm working with, which I also reached out to my emeritus, Ray Lojano. So I appreciate the guidance. So expect in the next few weeks some updates on our search for what that award is going to be for the maintainers. I think that's about it for me.
How many awards do you need?
That, I mean, as far as like meaning the amount of people or amount of different awards as you're asking for, I'm sorry.
To give them, just, this is a weird thing, but I'm doing a lot of pottery right now. And so I'm ending up with an obscene amount of very nice pottery. But like, I just don't need that many pots in my house. So if there's a use case for giving people nice pots, I don't know if I could make enough depending, but that might be something I could do.
We did pottery for actually the first one, because I ran that. But we actually switched to other things partly over portability concerns. Because one of the things is that like half the awards recipients have stuff shipped to them because they can't make the contributor summit. Folks decided that breakage issues, etc., were too great for that.
Yeah, another thing on the number, Kaylin, I feel, especially as a SIG lead who has nominated folks before for these awards, we've never been given a definite number of how many we should or shouldn't. So it's kind of varied sometimes. 1 year we gave 4, 1 year we gave 2. So yeah.
Yeah, it's advised that SIGs nominate 2 for 2 awards, but there's several SIGs that nominate up to 4.
Okay. Was it something physical? I feel like when I was a part of the conversations maybe 2 years ago, it was like a certificate or something.
No, it's a canvas piece with a wood frame. So that's been the award the past 2 years, but
okay,
or 3 years actually. So
got it. Bob says we had 43 awards last year. Do we want, I guess this is a question for awards, do we want to keep up with the canvas frame, or did we want to do something different?
That's a good question. I'm going to talk to Xander about it. Xander's very creative, so I'm going to leverage his side of it, and maybe, like I said, it's also like logistics and timing too as well. Like I don't want to get too complex and make it a little bit more challenging. So that may be kind of like a vote for like being consistent.
Oh,
this is the frame.
Natalie has one there for us to see.
Head for scale, but yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah, it's been a 2019. It was a framed image that had a star configuration on it, and so we've done a lot of stuff with the plaques simply because they're easier to ship than other options that we've had.
Gotcha. How much more difficult is it to ship a pizza cutter?
Yeah. I think an engraved pizza cutter would be wildly popular. I think we would have some serious jealousy there, honestly.
Awards. Yeah, that's.
But how
that's
easy is
stupid.
it to cut pizza with a heptagon? Is all I'm gonna ask.
Well, it would be circular, right? You just put the logo on there. It doesn't have to be.
Yeah.
That would be strange.
Yes.
Okay. Thoughts. All right. Yeah, just throwing that out there. Anyways, so about 43 last year. Yeah, cool. Maybe canvases or maybe engraved pizza cutters. Who knows?
We got time to investigate, so yeah. I think I love the idea.
The night is young. All right. Do we have anything else that we wanted to discuss under awards? We have a really good comment from Savita. Did you want to share that locally, or folks check the chat there?
Sure, yeah, I like that. I have a canvas and I really like it because there is this nice message. In some days when I'm not feeling great, it's just right behind my desk. So it motivates me to see like there is like, for me, Kubernetes is about community, and that's why I'm here. And it just like, it's a nice thing, you know, on a day that is not that great.
Yeah, that's right. That's a good point. It's a really, really good point. Awesome. All right. We will also investigate how many characters fit on a pizza cutter. Passing it over to Swag. Josh, you're up. Oh, I guess we've talked about all of these things already. Yeah, plain t-shirts for designs. We have a total budget. So we're gonna start a thread, Josh, Brianna and I, and me, for the staff item, looking at aprons, and Kaylin can help with designs. Okay. Anything else? Oh, under anything else, I also put that note about the swag. So it's double there. It's okay. Do we have any other items that we wanted to bring up and talk about before we head out? All right. Well, seems like folks are doing all right. So I want to say again, I am so grateful that you all are here helping to make this celebration, put this together. I'm stoked to be working with you all. Thank you all for all of the hard work and all of the great updates. And I'm looking forward to continuing to work with y'all and making this Contributor Summit awesome. So thank you so very much. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your week. Take care, y'all. Bye.